It's finally done. Well, it will be when we're finished with this video this morning. Hi, this is Kelly with Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And you might notice a difference. I'm not sure if you got to see this last week, and it's why there was not a flip through on Friday. One of my binder rings broke. So I had to deconstruct this and turn it into a loose front and back cover with 2-inch binder rings. And now, today we're going to work on getting the cover finished. Now I had several of these printed because I had to print enough pages to have these for the inside. So, and while I'm here, I'm going to pull one of these out and you'll see why in a minute. So, I decided I really liked this, and because I had multiples, I cut out an extra one and I run him up on chipboard to give him some, give him a little dimension on the cover. And I've been using the vintage photo from Tim Holtz to kind of go around the edge and get rid of my fussy cut edges. And I have started redoing all of my spottings by using these smaller daubers and putting them right on the back. So now I have the dauber with that color. When I do that with my Stampin' Up! Inks, that's going to eliminate, I think, 6 or 7 cases that I have these kind of daubers in. So that'll work. And then I won't have to have them marked with a color because they'll be on the bottom of their color. Okay, so let's start with this. I'm supposed to set him up. Now that does bring him up a little bit, but I think I want him to pop just a little bit more. So I'm going to get out my dimensionals. And I have a couple of small ones here. Now I could use the Tim Holtz ones, but I think they're just, first off I'd have to go get my Tim Holtz ones, which is the next spot I am doing on my office. And I'm going to start on it this weekend. I'm going to finish putting stuff away from my paint organization, and I'm going to link that blog post down below so you can see that I finally got all of my paints out of the boxes off the floor and up on the shelf where they belong. So I will put that down below. And then Bob is gone Saturday, so I'm going to get to have all of Saturday to work on that. Okay, now I'm going to press those down pretty good because I don't want them coming up. I'll move my cup over here so I don't have to cross in front of the camera to get that. And get my dots off of my papers, off my dimensionals. I like the ones from Tim Holtz, but the paper is not staying very good on them, and they keep, every time I move the sheet that the dots are on, I wind up knocking others off. They're just not sticking to their paper very well. Okay, the other thing I did was I want to use this to put my numbers on, because before, when I had a spine, I was going to use that metal frame and put them down the side. Well, that's not going to work. So I decided to do this, and I'm going to Hobby Lobby today, and I will pick up the numbers to put in here. But I wanted to figure out, I just didn't like this flush like this. So I got a piece of the brown packing paper, and I did that. And then this will sit over top like this, and it gave this a little bit of color. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this part down. I'm trying to learn to work on my layers on my covers. It's a struggle, but I'm trying. When I do it, I love how it turns out. Why is that not coming out? It's going to burp all at once. You watch. When it finally comes out, it's going to come out because it's a brand new bottle, and I have been using it. See if I can use my piercing tool and get it to flow. There we go. Okay, now before I have glue everywhere, I'm going to throw this away, because I will. We know how that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay. Now I want this more jaggedy edge to be on the part that shows. So I'm going to put that down there. Get out my roller. And I'm just going to lightly press that out. I don't want the glue to squish out, but I do want to imprison it down into the cover. Just like that. And it's okay that we got some glue squishing out, because I have a baby wipe for that. Somewhere. Somewhere I have a baby wipe for that. It wouldn't come out. And we're just going to wipe that off. And I'm okay with a little bit of that glue being there because we're going to put this up on bigger dimensionals. Now I've gone around the outside of this with Vintage Photo. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the bigger dimensionals for this because it's a bigger piece. I love my Reader's Digest Dimensionals book. I wish I had made it bigger so that I had more accordions in there. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, I could use strips, could go around this, but the dimensionals will work just as fine. The dots will work just as fine. I could have also cut the edges off of here and used those, because, you know, if it's an adhesive back, we don't waste any of it. Shouldn't anyway. So after beautiful fall weather last week, we are back in the 90s this week. Woohoo! I am so sick of summer. It could snow right now and I don't think I would mind a bit. Okay. Now we can take and pull these off. Now I'm going to work this weekend to get videos up for next week, because all next week I'm going to be scheduling as much as I can for October, because the 21st, I leave for a birthday weekend trip. I am headed to Kansas to see Big Mama for a couple of days, and then I'm going to my sister-in-law's in Oklahoma for a few days, and we're going to craft together with the Tim Holtz watercolor class that I purchased. You don't have to purchase the class. If you've got Tim Holtz stuff, watercolor crayons, large image, you know, open image stamps, you can do this, and I'm going to link that down below. And you know what? I think since I talked about that, I'm going to go ahead and do that on here, because I have a lot of surface there to cover. But I said you don't have to buy the class, but you do have to buy the kit. The class is open for free to anybody who wants to play. But if you have watercolor crayons, large image stamps, you can come play along, or you can just come watch and get some technique tips for watercoloring. Now, I bought the kit because it was an amazing value. The stamp and die sets alone in the kit are worth over $140. And we got the entire kit with shipping was $114. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Now, I do want to go through and put some of these in these empty spots, because I really want to make sure those corners and edges secure down good. So we're going to do that. I don't need any more in the middle. I just need to focus on these open areas up here near the top so that the top edges will lay down. And I used my Westcott scissors, my non-sticks, titaniums, to cut those with. And you can get those at Walmart in either the office aisle or the crafting aisle. You can get them individually, or you can get those small ones come in a 3-pack set of 3 different sizes. The largest one is this set. They are a carbon non-stick. Okay, I got all the papers off of those. We'll go down and get the papers off the strips. Okay. And then this is going to go right here, like this. Now, one of the things, like I said, I didn't have any numbers that I could put 2025 in here, which surprised it me. So I'm going to remedy that today while I'm out and about for my me day. I'll slide that right in there. Now, the other thing that I don't have, and I didn't realize till I was putting the pages in here is one of my pockets is missing one of these. So we're going to cut that one really quick. And I want to refresh my memory. They are cut at 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. Whoa, spun around too fast. Let's get a piece of our cardstock. And remember, this is the heavyweight cardstock that I bought at Ollie's. I'll be stopping in there today to see if there's anything new. So I need 4 1/4, which lets me cut this in half by 6 1/2. And there's that. And then I get this out of the way. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Corner punch because I like it a little better for stuff like this, for heavy stuff. And I pulled out the wrong one. I've got to get this cart cleaned off because I've got stuff sitting on top and I can't see what my stamps are or what my punches are. Maybe I'll do that first thing Saturday. So get this one punched off. And then those out here and get my Teresa Collins gold ink. I need to find her on Facebook and let her know how much I miss her products. Because I really loved hers. But after her husband died, I mean, she worked really hard taking care of him, taking care of her kids, and keeping her business running. But after he died, she just had to refocus her life. She's now married again. Okay, so we have those two. We can put the one back where it was supposed to be, that I took it out to use for a template. Now, I haven't decided if I'm doing ribbons and stuff on the spines yet, but see, when I was doing these, a couple of the pages stuck together, and I missed a pocket, so I'm going to make sure I go through here singly. Now, I am going to do I'm possibly doing an October daily. I haven't decided yet, because it's another thing with Bob being home for this first year that we could do all kinds of stuff, fall stuff together, so I may do that. But I'm also going to be doing my 31 Days of Halloween again this year. And I think we're going to do 31 Days of Halloween tags this year. Now, while I've got this out, let's make sure that's the only pocket that was missing a paper. Because when I close this up, I want it to be done and ready for pictures. Do you remember how we left that so we could tuck that in? Pictures will go on one side, and then we can journal on the back about the day. So there we are. The December daily I started last year with the Festive Frolic from Shabby Dabby Doodah is finally done and ready to use. Not sure what we're doing next week, but I still have stuff over there I want to finish up. I have a journal down here from the gathering I did last spring. I want to finish that so I can take that and show it to Big Mama. And then get that stuff put away. I'm all about getting stuff put away or pitched. If you don't know, the time between a full moon and a new moon is the time to get rid of things that you don't want. It's a great time to cut your hair, things that you don't want growing back necessarily. The time between the full moon and the new moon is the time to do that. So for the next 18 days, I plan on trying to do a lot of pitching again in here. And then the time between the full moon and the new moon is when you work on things that you want to acquire. So there's your little moon tip for the day. Thanks for joining me in the studio this morning. I will see you back here. I'm going to try and get a Sack Saturday up, but I'm not promising, in which case we will be back Monday and talk about what our next project is. Please remember to like, to share, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Creative blessings.